How does endless steak, juicy, tender, and cooked to perfection, sound to you? If you're a carnivore, this might be your dream come true. Some people even call it the ultimate meat lover's paradise in Las Vegas. Today, we're taking you to an all-you-can-eat buffet, Brazilian style. It's known as a churrasco experience and includes all the meat, salad bar, and sides you can eat for $52 during lunch, $72 for dinner. Welcome to Let's Eat Vegas, your guide to the good, the bad, and the delicious. As a chef who's run my own restaurant, I don't sugarcoat my reviews. I tell it as it is. If you've never experienced a Brazilian churrasco meal, well, it's hard to describe. There's an air of seriousness afoot and almost religious-like devotion to the process. Today, we're bringing you to Fogo de Chão, located just east of the Strip, and there really is something for everyone here. As you'll see, it's much more than just a carnivore's dream, giving us a lot to cover. So let's get started. As with all AYCE deals, there's always an abundance of filler-type items. And, true to form, they start you off here with cheese bread. I absolutely love these little puffs, made almost entirely of cheese. They date back to the 18th century in Brazil, when cooks began baking with cassava flour instead of wheat, creating a naturally gluten-free bread that quickly became a staple. Light, airy, and wonderfully chewy, they're one of those snacks you can't stop eating once you start. I learned to make them when I was just 18 from Armando, a talented chef I worked with in one of my first jobs, and I've been hooked on them ever since. As tempting as they are, though, don't fill up on them. You'll want to save room for the parade of meats that will soon be coming your way. The salad bar, or market table as they refer to it here, is far more than a side attraction. It's a centerpiece and has become typical of these churrasco-themed restaurants, offering diners a chance to enjoy regional specialties and imported delicacies before the mainstay meats arrive. Rows of marinated vegetables, cured meats, imported cheeses, and vibrant salads make it feel like a Mediterranean market. It's colorful, fresh, beautifully presented. In fact, many guests choose to skip the meat part of the churrasco experience and go only for the all-you-can-eat market table offerings for just $18. And it's hard to blame them. Everything is carefully prepared, from the hand-cut vegetables to the aged cheeses, and the variety alone makes it worth the visit. And of course, it also allows the carnivore and the carnivore's non-carnivore companion to both enjoy a meal. As is typical, we began with several dishes from the salad bar. By now, most of you know how much I love a good Caesar salad, and this version doesn't disappoint. Though it's not the original tableside Caesar, invented in 1924 at Caesar's Hotel in Tijuana by chef Cesar Cardini. His version was bold, garlicky, and anchovy forward, mixed right at the table with whole leaves left long for dramatic effect. Over the years, chefs have adapted it to fit different audiences. What we have here is what I like to call the Las Vegas style Caesar. It's lighter, creamier, and toned down to please the masses. Different, yes, but still delicious. I've always loved eggplant, and here it's grilled, marinated in extra virgin olive oil, and seasoned with garlic and capers. It's tasty, but nothing to write home about. The artichoke hearts, though, fantastic. You can see the herbs and spices packed into them, and the flavor comes through in every bite. I'm a sucker for perfectly seasoned vegetables done right. And the roasted bell peppers hit the mark. Sweet, smoky, and delicious. The mushrooms, on the other hand, are raw and simply tossed with an oil dressing that hasn't had time to soak in. I found them bland and, quite honestly, easy to resist. I'm a big fan of beet salad, but sadly, this one didn't deliver. To me, they tasted from a can and didn't have that rich, charred flavor they get in a high-temperature oven. I felt that they missed that crave-worthy quality. The highlight of the plate, without a doubt, is the roasted garlic. My aunt and uncle would have loved these. My mom always said my aunt would put garlic in, on, or around anything, and she was right. Grab a little clove, pair it with your roasted veggies, and it elevates every bite. As anyone who knows me knows, I'm a spice addict, and these peppers are right up my alley. The little ones remind me of Tabasco sauce in solid form, fiery, sharp, and addictive. Then there's the pear and Stilton salad. It delivers a bold, robust flavor, the kind of dish that could satisfy even someone who doesn't eat meat. Every bite feels like autumn on a plate. The Brazilian roasted corn salad is another winner. Corn, cheese, and a dressing crafted with real skill. This creation is absolutely worth a few calories. And then those little sweet pickled peppers. Most of you have seen them at salad bars everywhere, from buffets at hotels like Caesars and the Wynn, to grocery store antipasto bars. My mom was obsessed with these. Growing up, we always had a container in our fridge, ready for snacking or tossing into a salad. The smoked salmon, or lox if you prefer, is fantastic as well, especially with capers and onions on the side. Thankfully, there aren't any bagels or cream cheese here. That would be downright dangerous to my appetite. Candied bacon. This is my kryptonite at any buffet. Another Brazilian restaurant we reviewed, Galpo Gaucho, serves some of the best I've ever had. But this version comes pretty darn close. You can actually see the sugar crystals sparkling on each side of this glorious pig candy. The flavor is so dangerously addictive, many guests probably fill up on just this alone. As much as I love it though, this isn't my first time at the rodeo, so I'm practicing a little restraint. Now the salad dressing caught me by surprise. It's labeled basil, but it instantly reminded me of the old school green goddess dressing I adored as a kid. How many of you remember the green goddess dressing? It was a darling of American steakhouses back in the 1970s. A creamy, herb-packed dressing that felt exotic for its time. The salad itself is outstanding. Crisp radicchio gives it that bitter edge, balanced beautifully by those crunchy fried garbanzo beans. It's fresh, creative, and absolutely worth your attention. And hey, if you feel the same about our channel, this would be a pretty good time to subscribe. Because according to YouTube, about 60% of you watching right now are not subscribed. Oh! Subscribing is free, helps us grow, and lets us keep bringing you more of the good, the bad, and the delicious. And when you do subscribe, be sure to tap the notifications bell so you won't miss any of our new reviews. YouTube doesn't always notify you otherwise. And hey, YouTube just added a brand new feature called Hype. It's an easy way to show support for videos you love. So if you enjoy what we do, give this video a hype. It really helps us reach more food lovers. And if you'd like to go one step further, you can always buy us a coffee using the link in the description below. Every little bit helps us keep exploring more great Vegas eats. I can rarely resist a good lentil soup, but this one is clearly the lighter, meatless version that leans on the blander side. Thank God it's not the richer kind made with ham hocks, or I'd be powerless to stop myself. If you're vegan, this is probably a real treat. For this carnivore, though, it feels more like a polite appetizer than a craving I can't shake. I grew up with many Brazilian friends and was exposed to their culture and, of course, cuisine. Black beans are a popular staple. You see it almost every Brazilian table. They're commonly served with plain white rice and almost always ground yucca root. Here, I have Brazil on a plate, with the addition of a little pico de gallo and slightly pickled jalapenos. The beans are slowly cooked with pork and are very flavorful. I love eating them with just a little of the yucca root and pico de gallo. Beans and rice, such a natural pair. The Romeo and Juliet of the starch world of Latin America. Okay, it's finally time to get to the meat of the matter, the rodizio. For the uninitiated, rodizio is a style of serving in which gauchos, wielding red-hot iron skewers filled with impaled cuts of meat, travel from table to table, slicing and dicing according to your wishes, delivering you some of the most wonderfully prepared meat you've ever tasted. It all feels like very serious business, as the gauchos practically hover, quietly and efficiently gliding across the room. The entire event feels more of a religious service than a meal, where the gauchos are like the clergy, and these red and green cards are like the confessions of the soul. Turn it green, and every gaucho will make his way to your table to hand cut and deliver all the meat you could ever desire. Turn it to red, and take your time consuming your bounty. I half expected to see a confessional in the corner, with monks chanting in the background. Okay, time to turn the card green. And sure enough, Here come the gauchos. This one has a skewer full of picanha, which in Brazil has been the star cut of churrasco dining for generations. The name comes from an old Portuguese word for the pole used to drive cattle, and the cut itself became a favorite because of its thick cap of fat, which bastes the meat as it cooks. Unlike the US, where butchers often divided into sirloin steaks, Brazilians kept it whole, skewered it, and roasted it over open flames. Today, no Brazilian barbecue feels complete without it. This is probably the most popular and signature steak you'll find here in any churrasco-style dining. It's bursting with rich, juicy umami flavor. You can get it however you like, just ask. Personally, we like ours still mooing. The great thing about a Brazilian barbecue is that they really know how to achieve a serious char on the outside. Flavor, so intense. Plenty of good salt and pepper. Probably never need to reach for extra seasoning. You can tell this meat is prime quality. Deep, rich, and loaded with character. And don't skip the fat. As I always say, where there's fat, there's flavor. And the fat cap on picanha, some of the best you'll ever taste. This is one barnyard denizen you don't want to pass up. Tender, juicy, and packed with so much flavor, it can make Colonel Sanders jealous. Don't be fooled into thinking it's a light bite either. It'll definitely take up some stomach space. The outside is infused with a garlicky, herb-crusted seasoning that's downright addictive. The bone in the center keeps the meat moist and succulent, sealing in that richness bite after bite. It's rustic comfort food elevated by bold, simple flavors, and it's almost impossible to stop eating once you've started. In Brazil, this cut is considered the prized part of the sirloin. It's one of the most popular churrasco meats because of its rich marbling and high fat-to-meat ratio. At first glance, it resembles a brisket. But unlike brisket, it doesn't need long, slow cooking to tenderize. Thanks to the natural striations of fat running through the muscle, this steak is melt-in-your-mouth tender. So soft, you barely have to chew. It's very similar to flap meat or bavette steak, both beloved for their bold flavor and supple texture. One aspect I love about this style of serving is the constant rotation. Once a portion is carved off, the meat goes back over the blazing grill, kissed again with coarse salt, pepper, and spices, then seared until it develops that crave-worthy bark. It's this ritual, slice, season, flame, repeat, that keeps every bite juicy, smoky, and bursting with flavor. Sadly, this bone-in ribeye was cooked into oblivion. It's well done in temperature, and that's all. It's tough, tasteless, and sinewy. It left me feeling no joy whatsoever. For what should have been a rich, tender cut of prime rib, this one was a total letdown. The Brazilians are famous for serving this fantastic cheese that's been grilled till it's almost like a sweetbread. It's then drizzled with honey. Warm, comforting, and addictive. It's a little welcome relief between bites of the rich, savory meats. And then the bacon-wrapped chicken. Rich, bacony goodness that saturates this delightful little cube of breast meat. It's juicy, rich, so packed with flavor. What more do I need to say?
You had me at bacon.
Just remember, if you want to get the most bang for your buck, though, don't fill up, hold out for the meat. Linguiça is a type of sausage with deep Iberian roots. The word comes from the Spanish longaniza, which itself traces back to Roman times when pork sausages flavored with garlic and spices spread across the Iberian Peninsula. The Portuguese carried versions of this sausage to their colonies, and it eventually made its way into Brazil, where it was reinterpreted with local ingredients and cooking traditions. Unlike cured European sausages, Brazilian-style linguiça is fresh, heavily seasoned, and made to be cooked over fire, perfect for the churrasco grill. As most of you know, I grew up in a family that made homemade sausage and later specialized and served it in my restaurant. So if I say it's good, you can take it to the bank. This one is fantastic. Pork seasoned with wonderfully rich spices. It's got a little kick, but nothing your average person couldn't handle. The seared outside is nearly black, kissed by the flames, and that fire has imparted an incredible depth of flavor into this magnificent sausage. It's some of the best I've had at any Brazilian churrasco. Whenever I hear the words lamb chop, I can't help but think of Sherry Lewis and her puppet. Guess I'm showing my age. Anyway, back to the food. Unfortunately, these chops came out a bit overcooked for my taste. It's partly on me. On the skewer, they looked less done, so I took a chance. The seasoning is straightforward, just salt and pepper, nothing fancy. I do appreciate the simplicity, but I can't help comparing them to the lamb chops I had at Galpo Gaucho in the Fashion Show Mall. Those are some of the best chops I've ever eaten. Imported from New Zealand and seasoned with a touch of lemon salt that really brought the flavor to life. Well, anyway, I'll give the lamb here another try when a different cut comes around, but for me, this one's a miss. Box steak is a cut often associated with mid-20th century steakhouses. It was usually a thick center-cut sirloin or sometimes a round steak, trimmed into a neat box-like shape. Back in the 70s and 80s, restaurants marketed it as a hearty but affordable alternative to pricier cuts, and it became a popular choice for diners who wanted a big juicy steak without breaking the bank. This one is tender, delicious, and juicy. So charred, it almost reminds me of steakhouse steaks in the 80s when I was a kid. Remember the old steakhouse term, black and blue? Charred on the outside, cool and rare on the inside. Well, this is exactly that, and I love it. Flank steak has been long prized in both old and new world cooking. In France, it's often grilled quickly over high heat, sliced thin, and served with shallot butter or red wine sauce. In Mexico, it became the classic cut for sizzling fajitas. What makes it special is the coarse grain and intense beefy flavor, which rewards proper slicing across the grain. This flank steak, really something. So tender, has a rich flavor, almost like prime rib. I have to say that Fogo de Chão may have better beef than any other churrasco. Even though so far the lamb is a bit lacking in flavor and quality, the beef, some of the best you'll find at any Brazilian barbecue. Before I had the chance to turn the card red, another skewer of prime rib came to the table. I thought this was the universe giving Fogo de Chão another shot after the first one came out so overcooked. This one arrived rare, just the way I like it. But the fat is completely inedible. It's tough, sinewy, and lacks the rich, buttery flavor that makes this cut shine. Instead of melting into the meat, it just sits there staring back at you like rubber. Honestly, this might be some of the worst prime rib I've had in a very long time, and I'm not enjoying it at all. And here we have more delicious sides designed to fill you up. It always surprises me that some buffets don't offer better tasting fillers. It's a simple way to boost profit while keeping guests satisfied. Well, they get it here. These polenta fries, terrific. Buttery and creamy inside, perfectly seasoned, with a crisp golden shell. They're finished with a dusting of Parmesan that takes them over the top. And the mashed potatoes, equally impressive. Among the best I've tasted at a buffet. They're rich, velvety, and seasoned just right. Almost as good as the legendary mashed potatoes at the Palms Ace Buffet. Of course, nothing quite beats those. Still, I'm not falling for the filler trick today. As delicious as these are, I intend to get my money's worth in beef. Las Vegas has no shortage of amazing pork belly, so it's disappointing when one falls flat. And unfortunately, that's the case here. This version is limp and soggy. I much prefer the way Asian cuisines treat pork belly. Crispy on the outside, melt in your mouth tender inside, often with layers of flavor from soy, garlic, or spices. Here, it tastes a bit gamey, with no crispness at all. The charred look is deceiving because the flavor doesn't match. To make matters worse, the drizzle of honey feels out of place to me. I understand that sweet glazes are a traditional Brazilian preparation, but to my palate, it doesn't quite work. Honestly, I'd skip this and save room for better cuts of meat. I really don't care for this pork at all. The texture is almost rubbery. And while it's nicely seasoned with garlic and Parmesan, I just can't get past how unpleasant it feels to chew. I also found the fat practically inedible, adding nothing but gristle. Overall, for me, this dish was a swing and a miss. When I come back, I'll be immediately flagging down the gaucho with this filet on his skewer. It's hands down the best cut of the day. Tender, juicy, and loaded with that deep, rich umami flavor that only a truly prime piece of beef delivers. Bold seasoning, buttery smoothness, and melt-in-your-mouth texture. If I weren't sampling everything, I'd have asked for the whole skewer. I wonder if that's allowed at these Brazilian restaurants. Seems like a fair request, but also wildly outside the orthodoxy. Let me know in the comments if you think they'd say yes. The bacon wrapped filet, on the other hand, is a miss for me. The bacon overwhelms the beef, muting that beautiful steak flavor. Worse, the bacon isn't even crisp. It's soggy and underdone, which makes it taste even less appealing to me. I didn't find it was great bacon to begin with as well. So next time, I'll pass and stick with the pure filet. That's the star of this meal so far. This pineapple is amazing, but you have to request it. Strangely, they don't usually bring it around to the tables. It's a perfect way to end a meal though. Sweet, juicy, and with that char from the skewer, the sugars caramelize into a deeper flavor and slightly crisp texture. The dusting of cinnamon takes it over the top, adding a warm spice that balances the sweetness. Simple, but absolutely delicious. When it comes to Brazilian churrasco, I really love the entire experience. From the classics like picanha and filet mignon, to surprises like candied bacon, and let's not forget the grilled pineapple. It's a feast that blends tradition, flavor, and a touch of Vegas flair. Not every cut was perfect, there were a few misses, but the highlights more than made up for it. Between the endless skewers, the salad bar that borders on its own buffet, and sides that keep you coming back for just one more bite, this is one of the most complete dining experiences you'll find in Las Vegas. So if you're a true carnivore, or even if you're not, bring your appetite, pace yourself, and flip that card to green, because at Fogo de Chão, the meat just keeps coming. And after eating here again today, I'm starting to understand how seriously these gauchos take their craft. So seriously, in fact, I wouldn't be surprised if they required actual training and possibly ordination before being allowed to carry those sacred skewers. Let's just say, becoming a gaucho might be more of a calling than a job. Well, we'll be back to Fogo de Chão soon. Who knows, maybe we'll see you there. And don't forget to tell them, Let's Eat Vegas sent you. Still hungry? Then don't stop now. You won't want to miss these next videos. This would be a good time to hit the notifications bell so you get a reminder when the next review becomes available. And of course, it's always a good time to like, subscribe, comment, or share. It's free to do so, and it helps us to grow and to bring you more reviews. Until we eat again, bon appetit.